Hello, everybody, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 2 of the Dream Team Tonic podcast. Me, Tony, as usual, as well as my co-host, Ben. Are you there, Ben?
Hey, you right?
All good, mate. James, are you there?
I'm here, mate.
Good stuff. And our special guest, once a month, the reigning champion, Fergi. You there, mate?
I am, buddy. Thank you very much for having me on. Very excited for the new season.
Yeah, definitely. The excitement is building. Just a quick thanks to everyone. Our last episode, the first one of this season, is probably our best rated episode. Most views, most hours spent listening, most likes. We got more subscribers through it. We're massive. So thanks to everyone that liked, subscribed, commented as well. Quite a lot of comments on the bottom. So it's good to have all that interaction. Glad you enjoyed it. We had nothing but praise and nice words. So really appreciate it. Obviously, we've only been doing this less than 12 months, quite a whirlwind over like nearly 1,300 followers on Twitter and over 500 subscribers now on YouTube. So, yeah, if you've not subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button, like, comment, interact with us. We're here. It's appreciated. We've got lots to come all season. Every week, we'll have Fergie back once a month. Probably in time, won't we, just before the new transfers each time, will it, Fergie, so we can see what the champ's doing?
I think so, yeah, because I think that's the time where I tend to do most of my kind of planning is obviously looking at the fixtures ahead. So I think in that I get my, a really, really rough plan in my mind then if I'm going to attack the next month, and then, each month then, as we go through and kind of executing against that plan. So I think that would work if that's all right with you guys.
Yeah, I know, it's brilliant. So yeah, we'll have lots to come. Plenty of burping from Ben, beer cracking. We've got it all.
I know where the mute button is now.
So hopefully that works this week. So yeah, we've got an episode really of we're gonna have a look at our teams and have a look at your teams that you sent in, rating your teams. So first up, James, let's have a look at your 11, mate.
Right, do you want me to talk you through it?
Oh, please, mate, please.
Try and hold any laughter till the end if you can. So I'm doing something I thought I wouldn't do, which is kind of hedging my bet in the defence a little bit. I've been burnt in the past couple of seasons, actually, with going quite heavy on Liverpool, and they haven't started particularly well defensively. They tend to sort of pick up their form 4 or 5 games in after they've all hemorrhaged a load of cash. I'm not saying this is the first draft. It's not nailed on. There's lots of news and things that I'm sure will change our plans. So I've gone with Fabianski in goal. West Ham have got pretty good fixtures to start. They've only got 3, but they've got Newcastle away, Leicester at home, Crystal Palace at home. Of course, they're playing in Europe as well. I think Fabianski could be potential hidden gem. I did consider Henderson, although I hear he's got COVID now. Get him and De Gea are both 3 million, so that could be a potential swap out at some point. There's talk that United might rotate their keepers between Europe and the Premier League, which kind of puts me off a little bit. I would think Fabianski would be nailed on, although they've now gone out and bought Areola, I see. So I'll be keeping a close eye on the pre-season to make sure Areola doesn't look like he's going to steal Fabianski's spot. I'm guessing he won't. If anyone disagrees with that, then shout.
I think he's pretty safe, Fabianski.
I would think so, but he is a bit injury prone, isn't he? He always seems to pick up an injury every season, and they end up with their third choice keeper at some point.
Yeah, I think they've signed a quality backup, haven't they? I think that's what they've gone and done.
I think so. He's only on loan as well, so I think they've got an option to buy him at 12 million if he plays a certain amount of games, or they want to get him at the end of the season for like 12 million or something.
He's only 1 million in the game as well, Areola. So if so if there's any hint of him starting, he could be a bit of a game breaker, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Oh well, yeah, everyone will have him, won't they, at that price? Yeah.
I'm surprised they put him in so quickly. Usually it takes them about 3 weeks to put a player in.
I was shocked. I was doing a bit of prep earlier, and I thought, oh, I'll have a look. There's no way he's going to be there, and he was there at 1 million. So I was really surprised seeing that. But yeah.
I'm surprised at that. Last night I was looking at stats for Kufal, and I couldn't find them on FF stuff at all. And I suddenly thought, do you know what? I bet they didn't put Kufal in the game last year, even though he was.
They didn't. I remember.
Playing
all
really
season.
Well,
No, they didn't put him in, and he was
That's
playing.
Yeah, because I mean he could be another option in that Hammers defence. Although Creswell's, he's 3.5 million. Creswell's 3.
Yeah.
So I don't think we should discount Hammers. I don't think they're full of choices, but might provide some value during the season. So moving on. I know Chelsea have got a mixed bag of fixtures, but I think arguably they could keep a clean sheet against anybody. I do like the look of Chilwell. I think he'll start most games. He doesn't seem to trust Alonso. Alonso occasionally comes in against the bigger sides because he's got more of an aerial threat. Better in defence, if you know what I mean. Trent, Alexander-Arnold's a lock-in for me. He was one of the first names on my team sheet. Can't see him moving. He finished the season strongly, and obviously if Liverpool don't start defensively well, there's still a good chance of attacking returns. I've gone for a slight wild card pick here. I've gone for Doherty for Spurs because he's got 2 extra games in August. He's not locked in. I'm concerned about that price point of 2 million. If it doesn't work out, then he might be difficult to shift on. And he's only played 64 minutes in pre-season so far, so I'm keeping an eye on that one. I'm not sure why he's only played 64 minutes. They've had 2 or 3 games at least, but they've got Arsenal and Chelsea this week, I think, in pre-season. So we should get a clearer idea of the Spurs lineup, I think. The only other concern would be that Spurs have got City in their first game, and they might get absolutely tonked, but we'll see. Sorry, Fergie, you're a Spurs fan.
I'm a Spurs fan, but I'm a realistic one as well. We very likely will get tonked. So
it could be a steal though at 2 million, could he? Doherty,
he could be, couldn't he?
Being in there, is he going to get back to his best? Because he was flying for Wolves.
He was.
You know what I mean? It wasn't a transfer like that was on some unknown quantity. He was bang at it for Wolves at that right hand side, goal threat, assist threat. He was brilliant. Obviously, it didn't work out. Didn't work out when he went to Spurs, but is Nuno the man to get the best out of him?
That's the big factor, isn't it? With Nuno being there, he loved him at Wolves. Yeah. I'd look at the stats, and he got 28 goals in 297 games for Wolves from right wing back, and
not bad, is it?
He got in 2020 season he got 6 goals and 4 assists, and in the 19 season he got 8 goals and 8 assists. So.
I think it was that season as well when Wolves were in Europe, wasn't it? And Nuno just flogged his team to death. He played his first 11 in Europe, which I think is quite a big thing, because if you look at those opening Spurs fixtures, which I'm sure we'll look at in a bit, but the fact that Nuno played his strongest team in every single game may intimate that he may go strong, with Doherty and Sanchez and Lloris, maybe Son, which play a massive part in our opening game week 1 teams, won't they?
Yeah, definitely. In midfield, I've got 2.5 million Dele Alli. He's got two goals in pre-season so far. Could be a bit of a sleeping giant. Obviously, I want to impress under the new manager. So I think he's fairly likely to be in my starting squad at the start of the season. I've got Mahrez in there as well, my nemesis. He's had a good rest over the summer. He's had a full pre-season, unlike some of his rivals for that position. He's got 2 goals and assists so far in pre-season. Obviously, Pep Roulette's a bit of a concern, but a lot of the other players are coming back later to training. There's no fixture congestion at the moment, so I'm hoping that he at least starts the first few. He could potentially be moved to Kevin De Bruyne at some point. I saw a video of Kevin De Bruyne limping a couple of days ago. I don't know if you guys saw that on Twitter. He was just walking with one of the trainers down the side of the pitch, and I wouldn't say it was overly pronounced limp, but there was a definite he wasn't moving freely. So at the moment, KDB's not in my side for that reason, which might be a fallacy. We'll see. But obviously, I'll be keeping an eye on that one. What do you guys think about KDB going into the season? I know a few of you have got him.
I've got him in my draft.
Yeah.
He's sitting there until we get a bit closer to the season starting, and then we can move from him because he's 6 million.
Yeah.
So you can move to pretty much anybody from there, can't you?
Yeah, he's staying there till the last minute. Let's see what's going on with him, because as well, if City don't sign Kane, I know obviously Kane's missed training today and other things, and it looks like it's going to be forced through. But if City don't sign Kane, we know either Ferran Torres probably playing that position, or De Bruyne's going to play that false nine, and he's been deadly from there. I don't know what his goal scoring stats are from there, but when they play him up there, he's hard to handle. So it just makes him more attractive. But like you say, he's always got a bit of a niggle, hasn't he, De Bruyne?
I think if he doesn't start, if we're reasonably sure he doesn't start in game week 1, I don't know, I think I may argue that I probably wouldn't go with him until maybe game week 3 potentially. If he's back then, or even after that, because they don't have the extra games. Obviously, Spurs got the extra games, and a lot of the other teams have that extra EFL match as well, don't they? And De Bruyne, as fantastic as he is, he's not kind of player who would score a hat trick. So it's not like if you miss him against Norwich, all right, you may get a 13-pointer or something like that, but he's not going to get a 28-pointer, right? So I would say, kind of strategy-wise with him, completely agree with you guys, in terms of holding on to him, until last minute, absolutely. But I would definitely, and I'm the worst in the world for doing this, I would definitely have a plan in place for it. Like, once you get the nod, he's not going to play, what you're doing, because I'm the world's worst for going, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I end up changing like 2 or 3 players, and all the 2 months of planning goes down the Swanee in half an hour. So I would just be really clear on, if he's not playing, who is the guy you're getting in instead, and then just make the move calmly, soberly before the deadline. And the world's worst, especially in Sky, and the world's worst.
Out of you guys, who's booked off for the Friday, just in case from work? Because obviously Arsenal Brentford's on the Friday.
Yeah.
I booked half a day today because I know that I'm going to have that last minute panic.
Yeah,
brilliant. I haven't even looked at Fan Team yet, so I'm like, there's still loads of stuff to do. I know that I'm still going to be tinkering, and you never know. You always think, there might be that last minute snippet of information.
Yeah.
I used to book the day off when a playlist used to be announced in early July. As soon as we got the word, I was like, right, I'm having tomorrow off, and I'd be there with my highlighters.
I'm on a late shift next Friday, so
oh no,
flipping out, mate. Oosh.
It's gonna be dangerous. Yeah.
I've got Sterling in midfield at the moment.
I love that. I do. If he's staying, and all the rumours are a little bit false about him being a bit of a make weight in the deals for Grealish and Kane, I think at 4.5 million, that's an absolute snip.
It is cheap. I do wonder. I mean, with his form from last season, would you have him at 4.5 million though? I think it's the question you've got. I'm asking myself at least. I don't know whether I'm just sticking him because he seems like a bargain. I mean, we all know he's got potential, but if he doesn't, he's got to pick up his form from what he did last year, because otherwise, even at 4.5, he's not going to be worth it, is he?
But off the back of the Euros, I think.
Yeah.
I think he built in confidence, and he's shown why why he was always one of the most expensive players in the game, because his confidence come back. He was driving at people, he was running with ball, beating people, shooting. He was brilliant. He was brilliant for England, and he
back to the way he
into
was
this season. Yeah, it was great to see.
Yeah. Well,
the partnership with Kane as well.
Yeah,
if Kane goes.
Yeah, Sterling and Kane again.
We got the Community Shield as well before the season starts, so you get to see the lineup for City in that game. That'll be a big factor.
I think the difference as well between like Sterling and De Bruyne, as I just said, in kind of one-off games, I got no doubt that De Bruyne will likely outscore Sterling probably over the whole season. But where we're on these short bursts of like 1 game, 2 game, what we're talking about, Sterling's the opposite to De Bruyne in terms of he is hat-trick material. He scored a hat-trick in game week 1 a couple of seasons ago against West Ham away, I think it was, and he can be completely he can destroy teams in 1 game and get massive points, whereas De Bruyne is more of a drip feed, 8, 3, 13, 15, 8, isn't he? So I just think it's worth noting that where Europe and the EFL isn't included in August, if that makes sense.
It's a good point. I mean, if he doesn't hit the ground running, and say Sancho at United does, then Sancho could be somebody that I bring in. I think he's also 4.5, so that could be quite an easy swap there. If Sterling can't hit the was it a barn door with a banjo? Is that what they say?
A cow's arse with a banjo.
Completing that midfield, it goes without saying, is Bruno Fernandes. Doesn't really need an explanation. I think if you haven't got him in your side, you need to go away and have a little word with yourself, because I don't see any reason not to conclude him.
He's in everyone's team, he is.
Right, moving to up front, completing my Spurs triple up. No laughing at the back, please. Is Human Son. Again, for the reason that Spurs have 5 fixtures. If Kane's not going to be there, Sonny's going to be the main man up front. Everything's going through him. He's had a pretty good pre-season from what I hear. A couple of goals, I think. I need to have a plan to bring Kane in if he starts, but with him missing training today, it's just not looking like he's going to start game week 1, is it? I think. Salah up front is also a no-brainer for me. It's 6 million. I think he's possibly underpriced. I think most people will have Salah. I've gone for the Liverpool double up in attack actually, and included Mane. I think Mane's going to have a lot better season this year. He said himself that he wasn't up to scratch last year, and he's looking good in pre-season. He looks happy. He's looking lively. So that's my team lineup. If I want to get Kane in at some point, I might downgrade Mane or Son to Cavani or Greenwood or something like that. Might help me get Kane in. So I'm thinking about a plan to get him at some point. But yeah, that's the lineup. What do you guys think? Be kind.
Obviously, it's one of your teams. You're playing 10 this year, aren't you, James? So
it is, yeah. So I'm going a bit more conservative with this one because it's going to be my dream team Tonic 11. In my other teams, they'll be a lot more polarised in defence, and I'll certainly be taking more risks. Although you could say that having 3 Spurs players is a risk.
Calculated risk.
Yeah.
I like the De Bruyne out move, and it releases a bit of funds. I think I prefer Reece James to Chilwell, only because of the fact that when Reece James doesn't start, he tends to come on, whereas if Chilwell doesn't start, he doesn't come on, and you can get, again, 8-pointer, 0, whereas Reece James, you can get, 5, 8, 3 sort of thing. I think they're the same price, but I'm looking at, I like to look at the following month as well, and Chelsea's fixtures for a long time. I do agree with your point. I completely agree with you about they can keep clean sheets against anyone, but their fixtures, even all throughout September, so even after August, they land it in September. They'll have Villa, Champions League, Spurs, Man City, Champions League. That's their 5 games, and I'm personally avoiding, but I completely understand that they can keep losing anyone, and you can get ahead of the curve if you get on early. So I got no argument with it really.
Yeah, I think we touched on it in the last pod about people were obviously avoiding Chelsea assets, especially when they hit a really, really bad run of games. And I think they kept clean sheets in 90% of the games.
Yeah,
it were a crazy run of fixtures.
You're right.
It surprised everybody. But yeah, it is tough. I think obviously their fixtures do change quite nicely in October, don't they?
Yes, from October onwards, they got a lovely run.
That is probably when the Chelsea train will start to pick up a bit of speed there. But yeah, I've got tricky fixtures, but again, like you said, they could keep clean sheets against anybody.
Could.
I did go on to FF stuff last night, funnily enough, and you can do a player comparison on there, and I put up Reece James and Chilwell, and Chilwell just edged it in terms of the the likelihood of getting a 7+ rating. But honestly, it was so close. But I do like your point that Reece James, that he tends to come on whatever, doesn't he? Even if he doesn't start.
Yeah.
And it's a little nuance of Dream Team that some people won't realise, that you only have to come on for 30 seconds and you get that clean sheet. So it's a good point.
Or you get the -3.
Or you get the
-3 against West Brom.
Yeah.
The only other kind of observation, James, you mentioned about a plan to get Kane, and I'm not starting with Mane. I fancy him, right? I think he's going to be awesome. But Liverpool play before Man City in game week 2, whereas Man United and Spurs play after Man City in game week 2. So if Liverpool start, they've got the early kickoff in game week 2, so you're very likely Mane will very likely start. You're very likely not going to want to take Mane out, but that does kind of limit you then to, if Kane does start at 3:00 and you want him, you have to take out Son. Whereas Man United play after, so at the moment I've got Cavani in my team, which gives me an option then of taking out Cavani or Son. It's quite a minor point, but it is something that worked well for me last year, just in terms of noting the kickoff times, in terms of noting, what decision you can make at which point. Because there's nothing worse than it coming to 3:00 and then you're like, oh no, what am I going to do? Again, back to that planning sort of thing. So but I think Mane's a great pick.
Fergie, is that a bit of a telegraph tactic, that? Because of the different times?
A little bit, yeah. It does. Yeah, you do kind of, you tend to look at I always look at the times, and and Man City the week after, actually, then in game week 3, they play first on the Saturday at 12:30. So again, it's perfect, right? So if Kane doesn't start in game week 2, you get to see then if he plays in game week 3 before you make a decision. But I find having these little bits of information in your mind, knowing which move you're going to make, regardless of what happens with the lineups, it just helps take away so much stress. But yeah, I think Mane at 5.5 million could be an absolute bargain. He's very good at star man. I think he had 6 or 7 last season, even though he had a bit of a poor season, didn't he? So I think he could have a storming season this time around.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you want to on that? Do you want to go through your team, Fergie?
Yeah, I can do, but I wish I had James's team. I got to be honest, after him talking through it. So I've got Sanchez in goals. It's very much just a budget pick at the moment. I'm trying to see where I can save a few sort of pennies. Brighton's fixtures are pretty decent to start. Burnley, Watford, EFL Cup, and Everton. The only issue then, if I want to get off him, I'd be using a transfer. I'd have to find some money to get off him in September for someone playing in Europe, which I will have to do. But that's just what I got at the moment. I agree with James on Trent. Just absolute no-brainer. I can't believe they priced him at 4.5 million, because even last season again didn't have a very good season, but scored loads of points as he always does. I've gone for a double F for Man United at the moment at the back. I do think Maguire. I think Maguire last season was 5 million. For some reason, they've given him a discount for 4.5. He did well for most of the season. He didn't finish the season very well. I brought him in like April because he was just mopping up everything, Starmans, and he didn't get anything from then onwards. But I've got him. I got Wan-Bissaka because he's quite good on the rating matrix as well, and he's 3.5. So I think they're reasonably cheap. And I've gone for Luca Dean. Now I don't normally go for players kind of outside of Europe, but again, Everton's fixtures are really, really good. They have the extra EFL game, and I'm sure I don't think it was last year. The season before, Luca Dean played in that, third round of the Carabao Cup or whatever it's called at the time, and I'm sure he scored, and he had like a 13-pointer, 18-pointer, so he does tend to play in most games, I think. So I've got him in at the moment. But like I say, this is very much a kind of, a here and now draft, which could obviously change. In midfield, Bruno. I've got De Bruyne at the moment, but if he doesn't start in game week 1, I will very likely change him up. I'm not too sure who to. I could go down a bit and maybe upgrade Sanchez. I do like the Fabianski shout. I think that's a really nice sort of shout for a couple of months. You wouldn't have to even think about it then. And I've gone for Mahrez, a 5 million, who I think he's played in pre-season. He's scoring goals. I don't think like Sterling, Foden, or anyone are back in training yet, or have played any friendlies anyway. So I think Mahrez 5 million could get out of the blocks quite sharpish. So I've got him in at the moment. And then the front three, as I alluded to, I did have Kane in this morning, but the fact he didn't turn it for training, I took him out, and I've gone for Son, Salah, and Cavani at the moment at 4 million, which I just really like him. He just I think he's a bit underpriced. I think he's just a typical number 9, just gets on the end of chances. United, their fixtures start off really, really well. And I can see him, having a good start. That said, I do like Mane, but it's which ones do you start with in it? And it's quite tough. I've got my eye, on loads of players. Lloris for 3.5. If he starts all those 5 games in August, which he might, he could get a bundle of points. Who else did I pick out? I liked James's shout for Creswell for 3 million. I think could be a good shout. If anyone's looking for, if you spent 49 million and you're looking for anyone just to do it, I think Tariq Mitchell at Palace is 1 million if you're absolutely desperate. And there's Sir Alter at Watford, who's quite attacking apparently. He could do all right if you're just absolutely desperate. Grealish is an interesting one at 4.5. I really don't know what to do with Grealish because we haven't got much of an idea of, assuming he goes to City again, of how much he'll start. He could be, he was incredible on the scoring matrix last year at Villa. So he's going to be good at City. Buendia I like at 3 million, and Ali. I think you taught me into Ali, James. I think he should be superb. So yeah, that's my team at the moment. But in terms of strategy, I'm probably going to have a pool of roughly 16 or 17 sort of players. I think what I'm going to do is play 5 defensive blocks, 5 different defensive blocks. Mixture, of European teams, a couple of teams who start with really good fixtures, maybe Everton, maybe West Ham. And then with the others, a smallish pool of players, just kind of mix and match my attacks up. So, in one team have Son, Salah and Mane. In another have Son, Salah and Cavani. In another, maybe go like a 4-4-2 and go for Sterling, Mahrez, someone, Son and Salah. I don't think I'm going to go too far outside of that, because I think once you start to go for anyone, I think it's really easy to get yourself into a bit of a muddle then. So I'm going to be quite small in the play, in the pool of players I'm going from, and really have a a concentration of those players across the 10 teams. So that's my opening plans. I can't get excited with Chelsea, as I say, and it's only because of their fixtures in September as well. If it was only a few games and then they turn nice, I can understand it, but they're just not good. And yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts at the moment.
Yeah, I thought I was going to break the app when not that it needs breaking. But
you might even fix it.
I thought I was going to break the app when I put in a block West Ham defence. It just didn't feel right. I see too many claret and blue shirts. So
Absolutely.
I've got one team in there. Like say with European games, nice fixtures. West Ham could be the team to be on early. But we'll jump across to mine then. I'll have a quick run through this. It's a little bit similar to what I did last year, and it did burn me. I know obviously it put you off, James, the Liverpool defence. Block Liverpool defence. They had that in quite a few teams last year, and not only did they start with, was it a -2 or -3?
-2.
-2 across the board. But they lost the value as well. I think it was -3s across. And it was just gradually they just dropped, and they scolded me in a lot of my teams. So I was forever playing catch up at the start of last season, so it weren't great. But I think with the fixtures, I think with Konate coming in, with the options they've got at centre half now, obviously with Van Dijk and Gomez coming back, I think they're a little bit. It'd take something quite catastrophic for them to suffer as bad as they did defensively last year this time round. So Alisson obviously nailed it net. He is pricey and it is a risk because of losing value. Because if they don't get a clean sheet first few games, I'm going to lose that money straight off the bat. But Alexander Arnold, again, I think everyone's got him nailed. He's a points machine. Robertson, I think, is quite cheap at 4 million. He did quite well last year. I'm not too sure what the price, what the point outcome was last year between them two. We're pretty close in the end. Robertson did quite well. While you're looking at that, Luke Shaw, it's a bit up in the air. Obviously, this is an early draft. Whether he's going to be fit enough for game week 1. Did you, by any chance, Fergie, do the comparison of Wan-Bissaka to Shaw? Was he in your thinking, or was it Wan-Bissaka because he was a little bit cheaper?
I think it was because he was a bit cheaper. I think they're a bit much of a muchness. I know obviously Shaw has got more attacking intent, but
yeah,
I'm always. It's different in games like FPL because when a defender gets an assist, for example, in FPL, it basically doubles their score. They go from 6 points to 12 points because they get the assist, they get the bonus and all this kind of stuff. I find in Dream Team, an assist, it's only worth a couple of points. I just don't think it holds quite as much sway in my decision making. Trent is different, obviously, because he gets loads of them and he's on, he's on direct free kicks and stuff as well. But I just think the 500,000 swayed me towards Wan-Bissaka. Yeah, but now I've just swapped out De Bruyne for Ali. I've got 4 million in the bank now, so I can afford to make a bit of an upgrade.
So moving to the midfield, Fernandes, obviously. I think, like you say, he's got to be in everyone's team. De Bruyne, who can be quickly swapped from, and you've got all the options available. Just see what's going on with him. Going into game week 1, Dele Alli, and when I was picking him, I was going through all Spurs assets. Obviously, you're a Spurs fan, Fergie. I thought I'd tempered it back a little bit. I thought actually I probably wanted to put a few more Spurs shirts on that team. I do have a team that's very, very heavy Spurs, obviously with their extra fixtures.
Yeah,
I just think Dele Alli at 2.5 million. I mean, we know how good he can be.
He was 5 or 6 million a couple of years ago, wasn't he, or a few years ago?
I mean, and he's got that potential. Obviously, Mourinho, he goes places, he upsets people, and that's just what Mourinho does. And I think players like bit of maverick players like Ali, they just don't seem to click with Mourinho. And
Yeah.
hopefully Nuno, arm around his shoulder, can get the best out of him this year. At 2.5 million, you might, well, in a few months' time, see him at 4.5.
This scout in last season, he's had a very good career at Tottenham, hasn't he? In 2017, he got 18 goals, and then he was averaging around 9, 5, 8 from there. So he's got the goals and the assists as well. One season he got 10 assists in the Premier League. So
I think for me as well, like an important point which I saw the other day, which really got me excited about him, is he was captain as well. Which I think that's a bit of a statement. You can say he scored a goal, okay, but the fact he was captain for me, you say like arm around the shoulder. You don't just give someone the captaincy if they're going to be, a fringe player. And I think he could be an absolute steal. Actually, the more and more we talk about him, it's especially those the extra games, obviously.
Yeah,
in the last 2 friendlies as well, he scored, and Moore has scored 2 in the last 2, and so has Son. So looking like a good combination, the 3 of them.
Definitely. Moore and Barnes was the obviously the ones they had in there. I did switch it to Barnes in the end at the moment. Harvey being quite faithful to him. I started last season with him. He had a great season last year. Unfortunately, he got that injury.
He was on fire as well when he got injured. He was so unlucky.
Such a wrong time. He was probably going to go to Euros, I'd say, with England. I think he were in that good a form. So unfortunate, but hopefully, I mean, from what I'm hearing, he's fit. He's not obviously 100%. It's going to take a bit of time, but he could come and hit ground running. Leicester have decent fixtures as well, and obviously playing in Europe as well. So hopefully, Harvey can kick on this year.
The only thing with Leicester is there's so many players now there that they don't know what formation they're going to play. You got Harvey Barnes.
Is Maddison not going to leave?
Well, he's just had a baby 2 days ago, so I think he's on about staying now. I don't think he was on about leaving anyway, but just Arsenal are looking at him. Right. They'd have to pay at least 60 million for him, I think. So have they got that to pay straight up? They usually pay in instalments, don't they, like they did to Pepe? So
we'll see. We'll have to see. It's one of them to watch, isn't it, with Maddison. Like I say, we're still what is it now? 11 days.
Yeah,
11 days away. There's still loads going to happen. Loads going to happen before then. And then to my front line, same as Fergi. I don't really have to say much more about them 3. Salah, underpriced, 6 million definitely. Son with the fixtures and being Spurs main man, nice big contract for him. Will he be on penalties, Fergi?
I think he will. When Kane's been injured, he's taken them in his absence, so I think he will,
Brilliant. So it makes him even more a bit of a nailed one to start with, Son. And then Cavani, who he's just scored goals everywhere he's gone, hasn't he? And you'd like to think that with Rashford being out for the first couple of months of the season, he's going to be playing most games for United. More or less guarantees goals.
He's he's like a really old-fashioned number 9, isn't he? Whereas it's the thing, I think he's the kind of player where you'll see, Sancho and Greenwood and Bruno doing kind of, all the hard work, all the creativity, but all Cavani needs to do is get his head on all their hard work, and he scoops the 13 points, right? And this is why I think he's such a good pick, because he's such an incredible finisher, and he is always on the penalty. He's in the box. He's just class act. So I think he's underpriced.
It's a shame he came to the Premier League now.
Yeah, now you're right.
It should have been 5-6 years ago, but we missed out on his best years.
You guys not worried at all that now that Sancho's come in and will no doubt play on the right where Greenwood was playing? I do worry that that Greenwood has been sort of earmarked for the number 9, and it'll be interesting to see how much rotation there is amongst Cavani and Greenwood, because I would think Sancho would take Greenwood's sort of spot on that side. Have you thought about that?
I personally think that Sancho will play on the left because they got no one to play on the left at the end of the day, and I think he's played on both sides. I think that Greenwood will start on the right. But that's just it's purely personal. I just can't see, United have got 3 games in 3 weeks. I just can't see why they would even need to rest Cavani in that time. To me, he's their main man up front. If they had, say, EFL games or Europe, I could understand it, but he's got, and then it's the international break after that, isn't it? So
yeah. 17 goals last season for Cavani as well.
I think he's an animal. I love him. He's such a good player, old school player.
Yeah.
Apologies, Ben. I interrupted you then. Sorry.
No, I was going to say about the Trent and Robbo points. You asked for the points. Trent got 154 points, and Robbo got 141 points. But Robbo averaged better points per game. He was 4.3, and Trent was 3.4.
Yeah. I think we'll Trent was return from both of them.
Yeah, Trent was on fire at the end of the season, wasn't he?
He was.
Back to his best.
He was. You like to think he'd kick on. Yeah, go on. Jump into your team then, Ben. Let's have a gander.
Yeah. Well, I'll start from the keeper. I've gone for Robert Sanchez, like Fergie. I always seem to start with a cheap goalie for me, especially with the League Cup games. It's an extra game. Good fixture for Brighton, and he's pretty much the cheapest starting goalkeeper in the game. Apart from now you said about Areola, could be a bit of a thing with Fabianski there. We'll see how it goes. Then I've gone Trent and Robbo because I just think they're going to get a clean sheet. Now I've said it, I'm going to get a clean sheet against Norwich, and they've got Burnley as well. So I think clean sheets there. I've got Doherty as well for the 5 games in August.
Yeah.
I just think with Nuno being in charge at Tottenham, it's just going to bring him back to his best, definitely. And I've got
just on that. Sorry, just a thought, just while it was in my head around. It wasn't the Mourinho, but when Reguilon on the other side, they used to play the cup games, and sometimes they used to play. Ben Davis played a few games there and stuff. They used to bring Reguilon on quite a lot, didn't they? I wonder if they'll do that with Aurier and Doherty as well. If Aurier gets 70, 80 minutes and they bring on Doherty, I think that enhances it. Obviously, we don't know. Sorry, it was just a thought in my head then. Where I remember Reguilon last year, you used to come on a lot, just the last kind of 5 or 10 minutes, and it does rack up the points, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they seem to rotate in Europe last year, but obviously with the new manager, we don't know what he's going to do. Yeah. They rotated Aurier and Doherty, didn't they? And Ben Davis and Reguilon.
Yeah.
Midfield, I've got 4. I've gone for Bruno. No explanation there. Kevin De Bruyne, 6 million. I can jump down to Mahrez. I fancy Mahrez for the start of the season. But obviously, Kevin De Bruyne's the talisman, isn't he? And then I've gone 3 attacking Spurs players for the extra fixtures. So I've got Dele Alli, Lucas Moura, and Son. Because we found out who they're playing, haven't we, in the Conference League? It's between Passos de Ferreira or Larne from Northern Ireland, which I've never heard of until today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked into them. They only got promoted in 2019.
Did they not come 4th in the Northern Irish League?
Yeah. And they beat Bala Town from Wales in the first round, 2-0 in aggregate. And then they beat Aarhus from Denmark in the next round, 3-2, and they finished 4th in the Danish league, which is quite a strong league, isn't it?
Wasn't that a Madness song, Our House?
I was going to sing it, but I thought better now.
was.
I'm always
You
singing
usually
every week.
Yeah, you usually do one song then.
Arhus. I think it's pronounced. I don't know. So I think if they all play, could be lots of points there, but you never know, do you? Start the season. Then we got the front three is Salah and Mane. Like Trent and Robbo, I've got them in for the Norwich and Burnley games. And then we've got 5 transfers, haven't we? So I can jump onto another train after that if I want to. Moves, because you could even do like a full wild card, couldn't you? Because you've got 5 transfers in August, 5 transfers in September. You can change your whole team for the next running. And I've got Huming's Son as well, like I said before, the 3 attackers. So that's me.
Yeah. Nice, Ash. You mentioned it on the transfer. So I see you've got like 4 million in the bank, and at first I was like, 4 million? Is he mad? But then obviously, as you say, you've got Moore and Ali both at 2.5. You're probably not going to want both of them,
Not
going into into September. Yeah. Maybe either of them, depending how it goes, right? But in terms of your guys' transfer use, I'm interested, like in your strategy in terms of how and where, not specifically, right? Because we don't know yet, but how and when you plan using them. Because something I did last year, I made a really conscious decision at the start of the season for this, was to definitely try and save back a minimum of 2 or 3 transfers at the end of every month to set myself up for the next month. So, you mentioned a wild card there, Ben, for example.
Yeah.
But then obviously you can do that, but then you're then using your October transfers to set your team up for October. Whereas if you can stay ahead of the curve on transfers, in the bank, it does help a lot. What are your thoughts on that, Ben?
Yeah, definitely agree with you. I just saying it's an option, that's all.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I like to try and get my value in my team up actually.
Yeah.
So if, for example, Trent has a bad game, concedes 2 goals, I'll probably take him straight out before the Friday, because he's going to lose 0.3 straight away.
Right.
And then I might jump on another player. It's smashed it, and then I'm gaining 6.6 straight away, if you know what I mean. Because he'll lose 0.3 and then a 0.3 player back in.
Okay.
What was I going to say? Oh, and I've kept the money in the bank for in case Kane comes back into the lineup for Spurs or Man City.
It only takes 1 transfer then to get him back in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Right, so we've heard from all us 4 and our players. Let's delve into some listeners' teams. First up, I'm gonna rate my team. We're not going to rate it out of 10, are we? We're just, do you know what I mean? Who are we to be giving ratings out of 10? It's not X Factor.
We lost all our North London listeners last week, Tony. I don't think we should try and keep the ones that are left.
There's definitely nobody. Not all of the North London. Like Spurs are all right, aren't they? There's definitely no Arsenal fans listening. And if you are, then fair play to you. We weren't that harsh.
No,
I think they've got used to it, really, Arsenal, over the last few years. Anyway, first up is Dream Team Addicts with his team. Who wants to pick the bones of that? What's the good, the bad, the ugly?
Go on, Fergie.
I think, obviously, well, just to read it out, obviously for the podcast list, I suppose, it's Edison, Creswell, Robertson, Maguire, Walker, Bruno, De Bruyne, Maddison, Salah, Cavani, and Son. The things that stick out to me, I think that Creswell is probably actually a really good pick. I'm quite tempted to go for him. I think Walker and Maddison are not nailed on. I would personally prefer to have players that are nailed on, and he doesn't look to have an easy route to Kane is the only other thing I would say there as well. So it looks like you'd probably have to make a couple of transfers to get to Kane. So, but other than that, as I say, he's got all, most of the key men in there. Love the Cavani pick, love the Creswell pick. Strong defence, all the key men, but that would be my feedback.
Ben?
Definitely Maddison's a bit of a dodgy one because we've just signed another box-to-box midfielder, Leicester, from Lille, Samari. So I can see eventually Samari and Ndidi playing as the double pivot, and then Tillemans playing as the number 8 or number 10, if you want to say that. Maddison will probably be pushed further up. Maybe he might not start, because you might end up with Barnes playing on the left-hand side as well. So I wouldn't pick Maddison from the start, definitely not. And Walker, yeah, a bit of a dodgy one, but I think all the England players came back today from holidays, back in training now.
Apart from one.
Yeah, apart from one, Harry Kane. Yeah, but apparently every time when Man City play Tottenham, they play Kyle Walker against Son. So, because he's rapid, isn't he? So keep up with Son.
Yeah.
So I would imagine he will start the game against Tottenham. But yeah, that's about it for me. Everything's good there.
Yeah, James.
Yeah, no, I would. I personally wouldn't go for Walker myself, only because I think his main rival would be Cancelo, wouldn't it? So Cancelo's going to get a lot of game time, unless of course, and I don't think Pep will play 3 at the back, will he? Like England, well, to have Walker on the left of a back 3, I can't see that happening. So it's really a toss up between Walker and Cancelo. So yeah, I would go. I prefer Diaz, but I think he's a bit more expensive. So I can see probably why I did go Walker, but I wouldn't go for him personally.
Yeah, and just I had my unhappy face on my drawings was Maddison and Walker. Walker because of rotation. Maddison, I don't know where he's going to be. Don't know what his plans are. Don't like picking players that I know he might stay, but then he's going to get game time straight off the bat. I just can't trust it at the moment.
Yeah.
And my smiley face is against Cresswell. I love that pick. I watched the West Ham and Brentford friendly the other day on BT Sport. I just randomly come across it. Cresswell, he's on nearly every set piece that they take, which is ideal. It's a very good choice. Like West Ham's good fixtures in Europe. He's nailed in that left back spot. So yeah, that's my view of that dream team, Alex.
Maddison to Ali, and he's sorted there, and I think Maddison to Ali, maybe switch up Walker with someone else, and he's got a fantastic team.
Yeah. I think obviously if he's listening, if he's listening to all us plugging Ali, I think it's a wise choice. Did you want to add something then, Ben?
No, I was just going to say Cresswell got 8 assists in the Premier League last year.
Not bad, is it?
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
Put it in a mixer.
That's it.
I do wonder if Mateus Pereira signs for West Ham, which is looking likely. One, I think he'd be a really good pick because I think he's an absolutely fantastic player. But I do wonder whether he may take some set pieces off Craig as well. It's probably just something to maybe think about. But he would definitely be in my thoughts as a pick as well, because you'd guess he probably wouldn't be that expensive either. He might come in at maybe 3 million potentially, maybe 3.5. He finished the season. I only know from an FPL view, but he finished the season as had the second highest expected points in the whole Premier League, and they got relegated. So imagine what he could do with really good players around him. I think he could be an absolute superstar if he signs.
He's a very talented player, isn't he?
He is.
Interested to see what price Ben Rama's at. Pretty similar player.
He scored a cracker, didn't he, against Brentford?
He did. But other than that, I mean, obviously that always gets the highlights, don't it? It was a great finish, but he did play really well. He had a good game. We're interested to see West Ham versus Brentford as well in the pre-season game. Now Brentford in Premier League. Brentford played quite well. They held their own.
Well, I want to ask you about Ivan Toney, Fergi. Everyone seems to be talking about him in the Sky World. What do you think about him? I know obviously he's a captain choice for the first Friday, but do you think he'll score against Arsenal?
I do. Well, I don't feel he'll score against Arsenal, but
Yeah.
I think, if you look at his stats, his performances, his average rating last year was well over 7. It was something like 7.4, I think, for who scored.
Yeah.
I think he could have a really good season. The only thing which, so I've got him in. I've got him in all my other teams. The only reason I don't have him in dream teams, obviously, it's much easier to pick a good team in dream team without having to have, kind of the cheaper players. But I think he's. I think he's a really good pick, and obviously depending who they get in the EFL as well, he could have a field day against a lower ranked team in game week 2. I don't think it's been drawn yet, so I don't think it's been drawn because they haven't played him yet.
Yeah.
But he's definitely one to think about. I think he's 2.5 million.
Yeah.
No, I think he's good. He was in my initial draft, but then obviously after you shift some things around, you can afford the Sons and whatever else, can't you? So
yeah.
Ben Rama's 2.5 as well.
Yeah, decent sneak. But then if they do sign Pereira, that might impact his game time as well.
Yeah.
Similar players. So we'll jump on to Fergie's apprentice team. Always really good. What do you think of that, James?
Well, I hear Henderson's got COVID.
Yeah.
And I do worry if De Gea comes in and starts well, then obviously Henderson, he might be quite. I could see Ollie sticking with him for a bit, even though it would appear that Henderson is his number one. You can't. If De Gea gets that start, he might be in for a little while. Christensen, I'm not too keen on because I think there'll be rotation at centre back. Although Zuma's on his way out, isn't he? I hear, but they've been linked with other defenders. I mean, I do like Christensen as a player, but I don't know as a dream team asset. I think there's a little bit too much risk there, and obviously Chelsea's fixtures aren't that great.
Yeah.
I think it's a brave move to go for Sancho without seeing him in the Premier League. Could work out. I know Fergie's apprentice, a Man United fan, so I can understand that one.
Yeah.
And he's at 4.5. That's not a bad price, really. I think you could have a little punt there. So I don't like going for players that are new to the league myself. I tend to play it a little bit safer because quite often it takes them a while to get up to speed. But he could hit the ground running. He is English. He has lived in Manchester, so we'll see. Havertz is a tricky one as well. I think he could provide good value over the season, but again, Chelsea's fixtures aren't great.
So frustrating that they put him as a striker.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, and 4 million in midfield, it'd be
he's a good option.
A brainer.
Yeah.
It's too much.
I think it's right though, to be fair, because he finished the season playing as a number 9. So I do think it's right, but I agree with you. I think if he was a midfielder, he may even start in my team because I think I think he's that good. But there's way too many good striker options in there.
Yeah, definitely.
So I like the side. I think it's a good side. Like I said, I would personally I wouldn't go with Christensen. Havertz might pan out. And Sancho might pan out. It wouldn't be my style of play, but I applaud you, Fergie's apprentice, for having the balls to go with those two from the off. What do you guys think?
I think you pretty much covered it all there, mate.
Yeah, I think you have. There's nothing I disagree with there. I've got Christensen and Henderson down here. Obviously, Henderson, COVID. Christensen, dodgy fixtures. Will he start? We don't know. Sort that out, and ballsy options. Sancho, Havertz, but they could pay off. They could be the differentials that give you that bump up, but we don't know that for definite.
Well, Christensen's not got any attacking threat really, has he? Either.
No, not like with Zuma. Even Rudiger looked quite good.
Yeah, he does. They've got Rudiger, Silva, and Aspilicueta played in the back three tonight towards the end of the season with Reece James and Chilwell, so he's not guaranteed. And I think it's the same with Henderson. I appreciate your point, James. You probably are right that if De Gea, you'll get a run of games, but you don't want to be using a keeper transfer early on if and you don't want to be waiting on a team sheet to wonder if your keeper's going to start. I mean, that should be the spot which is just nailed on. So I'd go for someone else.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have been avoiding United for that reason.
Yeah.
Not knowing when the number one's up in the air, they are sharing it between the Europa League and the
To be
Premier
fair,
League.
I do think Solskjaer did say that Henderson was going to start as his number one, but now this COVID thing's come
exactly.
in. I think it's just too much risk, unless you hear something before the start of the season, of course. There's 10 days to go. So
we've got Connor's team, blend them over. Maybe chuckle a little bit. Go on, Ben. You start off with this one, mate.
He's gone with Sanchez in goal. Cheapest starter, I think, in the game, apart from, definitely nailed anyway. Trent and Robbo, same as me. Digne, same as Fergi. Good fixtures for Everton. Rafa's a great defensive manager, and he should maybe get pushed on, bomb up, and he takes corners, free kicks, so it's a good pick.
Rafa's record at when he takes over new teams as well, he always starts off incredibly strongly. If you look at, obviously I haven't got the numbers to hand now, but his record when he takes over brand new teams is absolutely phenomenal. So
great manager.
That could play a part. It's yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like the midfield. Buendia's a nice maverick pick, I think. Good fixtures with Villa. Four games in August. Calvert-Lewin could be a good pick.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think he's overpriced.
Yeah, definitely overpriced.
I definitely think he could bang.
I'd prefer Son for this month, but Calvert-Lewin's a good pick, differential.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm happy with that. What do you guys think?
I think I go for Ali over Buendia and maybe Sancho, but Buendia did have the highest who scored rating in the championships last season, so it was really high. It was something like 7.7 or something. Absolute beast on the rating. Likes a tackle, likes a shot. So I do think he could be good. I just think when you've got Spurs playing the 5 games, and Buendia is a bit of an unknown with Villa, how Villa will start. I think Ali's a bit more of a shoo-in, but I do like the Buendia pick, and I do think he'll be one we're all looking at in September.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You get double figures in assists and goals as well, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yeah. So he's a very strong player. I've got him in Sky for his tackles and shots bonus. He's very much an all rounder, very involved in the game all the time, and I think he's on set pieces as well. I'm not sure whether he will be immediately at Villa, but he definitely was. He took a lot at Norwich, so
yeah, very good player. He has sent in a second team. He said he'd been a bit cheeky. Go on, James. Have a look through his second team, mate. Buendia's nuts.
Well, I would. Well, two Villa is a brave move, I think. I mean, I possibly, if you're going to take a bit of a gamble, then maybe not two of them. That's my personal opinion. Pepe, God, he's a tricky one, isn't he? Because he can be absolutely brilliant or absolutely rubbish. He's one of these players that blows hot and cold. If you get hot Pepe, you'll be laughing. If you get nonplussed Pepe, then you're in trouble, aren't you? And that's an early substitute. But he could be explosive, and he did show a bit of form towards the end of last season. At one point, I think he was top of my form table, but that was only for a couple of weeks in the season. So it's a brave pick. It could work out, but there is risk involved in that, I think.
We did touch on that, didn't we, on the last pod? He got 18 points less than De Bruyne last season. He got 9 points less than Mahrez.
Most of his points were in Europe, I think.
That's just what I was going to say, James, as well. Yeah, they haven't got Europe this year, have they?
Yeah.
16 goals, 6 assists, 8-star man.
he's going to settle more into the league this year.
He's not going to get 16 goals in the Premier League, is he? Because they're not in Europe.
Is it his third season?
Fergie, you can't start attacking the Arsenal team.
No, I do think he has the potential to be a good pick, but their fixtures in August are not very good. Obviously, they got the opening game against Brentford, then they're howling, and then they haven't got Europe. So I just think personally, he's a bit of a transfer waiting, which is why I think it's better options.
Definitely, completely agree. Ben, you want to add out there?
Well, I don't mind the Aston Villa double up just because of the fixtures. Maybe if you could fit in Grealish instead of Buendia, if Grealish is back to playing, but instead of Pepe maybe, and then I don't know, like you could put Ali in for Buendia, like Fergie said. But yeah, that's a pretty good team.
It'd be nice if Harry Kane and Grealish just sorted it out where they're going to play.
Yeah.
And let us get planning, because we're trying to spend all this time planning in FPL, Dream Team, Sky, and we still don't know what we're doing really. We're leaving a bit of money for a side. We're going to get Kane, Grealish. Is he a better pick for Villa? Is he a better pick for City?
It's going to be a deadline day transfer, isn't it?
Sure. And I'm going to be at work on a late shift.
You can just imagine as well, right? So he doesn't play against Man City, and then for his punishment, they play him against Lan, and he scores he'll score like a double hat trick, and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, Daniel Levy, he's not gonna let him go easily, is he? He's gonna draw that out, and
I think it's gonna be right to the end, exactly. Yeah. So I think just I think I can't remember mentioned it earlier, but I do think everyone should just have a very rough plan in place of how you can get in Kane, and not just kind of leave it to the last minute.
Definitely. On to the next one, FPL reaction, Louis. I would actually, I like this side. It has got the double up on the Villa. Calvert-Lewin up top, which I probably would choose Son, obviously with the amount of fixtures, but he's an FPL player. Can you tell that from his team, Fergie?
You can. He's got some good FPL. I do like it as well, though. I think it's a really good team. I'm not too keen on a double up on Villa. I prefer to spread the risk a little bit. And Sancho, I mean, it's impossible to say. If you look at like Havertz last year, he didn't start off very well, but then he got a hat trick in the EFL Cup. So you just never know with these kind of new players. They can be absolutely anything, can't they? So no, I like it. I think it's a really good team. Calvert-Lewin, he proved. I think he scored back-to-back hat tricks last August and September. He scored one in the league and then scored one in the week in the EFL Cup. So he's got the pedigree to score big as well. So he'll definitely be in one of my teams. Yeah,
he's in a couple of mine, I think.
Yeah.
Have any of you got a Villa back back three in one of your teams?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
That's
the beauty of this game, isn't it? You can pick 10 teams. You can have a little play around.
Yeah, like with West Ham, it was weird blocking a claret and blue shirt. Being a Rovers fan as well, I don't particularly like the colours claret and blue. But yeah. Is there James for you that stands out? I know you don't like the double Villa, do you? But
no, I'm not. I wouldn't go. I think it's worth taking a punt, but not. I wouldn't go to Villa myself.
Watkins on penalties though.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not a massive fan of Luke Shaw, to be honest. I know he did well in the Euros, but he's never been a brilliant fantasy asset historically. And if you look at his output compared to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who is $500,000 cheaper, Shaw has slightly more assist potential. Wan-Bissaka has higher 7+ rating potential. Well, based on last year's stats at least. I mean, if you're going Shaw, you have to believe that he's going to be carrying some of that Euros form into this coming season, and that might happen. But previous seasons, I don't think he's been the player we all think he or know he can be. So I'm not a massive fan, but I'm not. That's not to say he won't replicate his Euros form. It could happen.
Yeah, I think for me, Luke Shaw last year was probably the best left back in Premier League. Whether that goes into Dream Team points, you know what I mean? But he was pretty impressive last year. He was back to what United went out and spent all that money on years ago. I think he was really, really good. And like you say, he had a very good Euros. So on the back of that, would he outscore Wan-Bissaka? It depends on it. The scoring algorithms, they do like Wan-Bissaka, so it's one of them. I think that'll be a close one between them two. I think, like you say, the $500,000 could come in handy somewhere else.
Yeah. Or if you go up $500,000, as Fergie was saying earlier, I think Maguire is only 4.5.
Yeah,
so.
And we know how much they love him.
Yeah, it's a star man magnet.
The only other thing, just to touch on the double up as well, for teams that are not in Europe and teams which don't score too many goals, there's only one player can get star man. I think it's quite important.
Yeah.
When you talk about maybe like Mara, having Mahrez and Sancho, just for example, which is in the next one actually in Steve's team. But this is why I kind of like to spread, especially the lower teams. No disrespect to Villa, obviously, but obviously here we're talking in Dream Team terms. Even if Buendia and Watkins have, both have stormers, only one of them can get those extra points. That is something I think to think about as well.
Yeah, it's like you open yourself. You want as many players in as many games as possible to try and steal them Starman points.
Exactly that.
Yeah, I think so. We go on to Steve's team, and he's got 4 Villa. So how do you feel about that, James?
I think, what did I write down? Quadruple Villa, madness or genius. That's my only comment.
Obviously, Steve, he writes the Sky Fancy Football blogs for us. He's a good chap, or in America. I was trying to track that. Is he a Villa fan? He's not a Villa fan.
He's West Ham.
He's West Ham.
Yeah.
Must be the colours.
Similar
Matty
kit,
Cash is cheap, but he had $2 million.
Yeah, I mean, Matty Cash is a great asset in FPL and other formats. Yeah, they've got good fixtures. He's a bit of a danger down that right hand side, Matt Cash.
I'm assuming as well. I only know from Sky, but he was good for tackles, so I'm assuming he'd score okay on the matrix as well. But if you're struggling to squeeze out, you've got your 10 and you're looking for, how many times, I bet you guys done the same with the last month where you've got your 10 in, then you're down to 48 or 49 million. Who's that player, who you can just squeeze in? He could be a decent one actually, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
We've only got 5 transfers, haven't we? So if you've got 4 Villa players at the end of this month, I think you're going to be looking at 4, at least 3 to get rid of to get rid of some of those Villa players, which is why I personally wouldn't go anywhere near 4.
Yeah, not in your main team, but maybe in one of your punty teams you could do it.
Yeah. There's no harm in that, like I say, block defence or something along those lines. But yeah, you don't want to spend too many transfers too early. You'd like to, like Fergie said about, you want to get to the end of the month, a few in hand, and then you can use them leading into your next month. And also, then you kind of like end up with like a nest egg of transfers.
It's like a never-ending thing of transfers you have. And I don't think it's massively important in September and even October, but once you get to November and December, especially December, because there's so many games in December. If you can get to the end of December with a transfer or 2 in hand, you're in a really, really good spot because you can attack January. You've got all the FA Cup, you've got all the, but you need to start it kind of early, because if you don't start it early, it's very hard to start it, in October, not make any transfers for 2 months. So I think you should always bear that in mind.
I was just going to say it's good to see Martinez in one of these drafts. He's pretty much a season keeper, isn't he?
Best keeper in Premier League, isn't he?
Yeah, he was last year.
It's just they're not in Europe. It's the only thing for me that's the only problem with him. But I mean, other than that, he's a fantastic keeper, right? Brilliant keeper.
Yeah, you build the value
for Arsenal though.
Yeah.
Not good enough for Arsenal. They'd rather spend, what was it? I saw the other day, 30 million on Ramsdale or something they were after.
Oh God, yeah. Like, we won't go into that though. We genuinely are looking like an
lose
anti-Arsenal.
listeners.
Yeah, an anti-Arsenal pod here.
So it's worth noting Martinez was the third highest scoring goalkeeper last year on 135 points.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So I personally would go from players from Europe, but I think sometimes you can get blinkered, can't you? And just ignore anyone who's not playing in Europe. I know I have, and last season there was good players like Dominic Calvert-Lewin and various others, and like they kept racking up the points, but you're like, I can't touch them. They're not playing in Europe.
Yeah.
It's just I suppose, it's difficult, isn't it?
It's the first month.
Not in Europe.
The first month you can have a little play around because you've got the extra Carabao Cup games. So
I think you underestimate them as well. I think I definitely underestimated them the season before last. And I saw, like I say, Luca Dean. I'm sure he got like an 18-pointer or something, and I was like, "Flip it! Why haven't I got any players?" Because I went for mainly European ones. But I think having like a small blend of maybe 3 or 4 players, I think is, like I said, I had Calvert-Lewin last year, and obviously he came up trumps, which was lucky. But I think it's definitely worth in August, and then maybe using your August ones towards the end of August to take those players out for September.
Yeah,
definitely. Last one then, JD. I can't see team name. Ginger, he's fat, mate. Another Villa double up. What do you reckon of this one, Fergie?
Yeah, I saw Antonio, and I really like him in a lot of the games. The only thing is they don't have that extra EFL game today in August because obviously they're playing in Europe next month. But I do think he could score a few points, like the Matty Cash pick. Stones, I'm not too sure about Stones because I just think he's got. I personally think that the Diaz is nailed. Obviously, Stones was away right until the end of the Euros. He's got Laporte, Ake. Who else? Another one there as well, and I can't think the other one is at the moment. But
Garcia's he's left it though. I think to
he's
Barcelona.
on the Barca, haven't he? Yeah. But I just think he's got some competition there. They've only got the 3 games as well, so the difference with Maguire and Trent, who he's also got, is they will very, very likely play all 3 games. Whereas Stones, again, you don't want to be looking at team sheets and wondering if your player's playing as far as possible, obviously. But other than that, really, really strong team. And again, I just make sure that you've got a plan to get in Kane.
Yeah, Ben.
Yeah, pretty much covered it there. Stones and Cash. Probably I wouldn't have in my team. Antonio's got a good couple of months coming up, and I like that pick as well. Yeah. What about you, Tone?
Yeah, Antonio, I like it, but it's whether his hamstrings keep up with him, innit? He's such a frustrating. If he could play 38 games in the Premier League season, how many does he score? He's good. He's good. But yeah. He was down injured in that friendly that we watched, and I was thinking, Jesus Christ, this is ripping up a lot of people's drafts. But he got back up, he played on. But yeah, it's just you're just waiting for Antonio's next injury. I just have Son in there. I do like the double up on the Liverpool though. I think we discussed it on the last pod, Mane Salah, because I think you've got to have Salah, and I think the first couple of fixtures for Liverpool, them two could do quite a bit of damage. It could be an explosive start from Liverpool for the season. Obviously, a bit of a disappointing year last year defending their crown, and I think we might see them come back with a little bit of bite about them. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that goes on. What do you reckon, James?
To be honest, I think you guys have really covered that one really well. No extra comments on
after all of that. Nobody will ever know. Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, thanks for that, James. Smashing, mate. And yeah, there you go, JD. I think we've covered all that. That's us done, really. I think we wanted this one to be a little bit shorter, but we hit a 1 hour 30 last week. I mean, there's a lot to get in before pre-season. It's full of players, stats. It'll always trim down, won't it? Obviously, just go back to what we're going to be doing throughout the season. You're going to have us going through the top 10 in the various different leagues: Dream Team, Sky, Fan Team, FPL, all the leagues that we're running. We have Fergi on once a month, so we'll go through it. We'll have transfer special once a month where we'll probably get down to the nitty gritty and make sure that you're handling your transfers well enough. And who better to help us along than the champ? Have you got used to that yet, Fergie? Are you used to
No. I've been called a lot of names in my life, but I've never been called a champ. So it's taken a bit of getting used to.
Yeah, so we'll have shout outs for everyone who's leading in our leagues and stuff. Obviously, it's new ground for us teaming up with a hub, and hopefully we build from here. It's great to have people like Fergi and other people involved, and we appreciate all your support. Just a like, a subscribe, just a comment. We're very quick to comment back. Follow us all on Twitter. I'll go through the Twitter handles. I'll put them in the comments, and you can just follow them there. But we do appreciate it. Hopefully, it's helped you out. Yeah, and we'll speak to you next week, a week before kickoff, a few days before kickoff. Like I say, I'll be on a late shift. Fergie's, I don't know, you'll be a busy man, won't you? James has booked it off. Ben, do you know where you'll be, mate?
I'm early finish on that Friday, so happy days.
There you are. Everyone's sorted. Everyone's sorted but me. But yeah, it's appreciated. So cheers, guys. Cheers for listening.
Cheers,
Tony.
Cheers, Tony.